All right, apologies for the delay, everybody. Welcome back, race fans. Here at the BoomTube. Racing already underway here at the historic Lime Rock Park in Lakeville, Connecticut. It's a short track of road courses. Currently, Bennett Allen and Alex Wiggins out front for tonight's race. We'll go ahead and get you right into the racing action in just a moment. First of all, got to thank our sponsors and everything for being here. Thanks, of course, to Soaring Logos for sponsoring our league overall, being the title sponsor for the remainder of the season. Of course, other sponsors, Rogue Promotions as well. Find them at roguepromos.com. Thanks to both for being on board with us this evening and putting up with the tardiness. Computer updates took down the streaming PC and the internet tried to die all at the same time, but we are back here for the action. We'll go ahead and get right to it for you right now. The battle going on between, once again, the 15 of Bennett Allen, Max Baumann, as we got a spin. Not the first time, not the last time we'll see that this evening. Will not be full course yellows for single car spins, only if we see a big enough pile up to warrant such a thing tonight. Will we bring out the full course yellow, drag that safety car out onto the racetrack? For now, iron your battle up front. Bennett Allen, you might recall, last week finished a very narrow second position behind Kyle Nadeau, currently running P4 this evening at Lime Rock. Super sideways back there for the 11 of Alex Wiggins. Good to have Alex back on track with us after a couple of week hiatus. Back here with us tonight. Currently, Alex sitting 1.9 seconds behind your race leader. You're on lap number 6 of 68 tonight, so a pretty long race, but this track not very long. You might think road course, that's going to be a long lap time. Lap times here at Lime Rock actually under a minute, averaging probably about 54 seconds for most of these drivers. Of course, some of the faster people up front running low 52s at their fastest here in the early going. So far, 51.9, first 51 of the weekend here for Bennett Allen in that lead. No explanation needed why he is pulling away from second and third place. And speaking of second and third place, Alex Wiggins in that 11 has his hands full with Max Baumann in the 89 just behind. Alex and Max, both road course aces. Good to see them up front and battling as always. Let's take you down the running order. We're getting a bit of a late start to the race, so playing catch up all the way through. Currently P4 is Kyle Nadeau, last week's very narrow winner at Pocono, door-to-door, beating and banging all the way to the stripe in a great drag race last week at the Tricky Trial. Came out on top for his first win of the season in his first race of the season. It's behind him, Dalton Brewington, that Team Highlands Racing number 7, running in the top 5 for the first time in a hot minute, so good to see him running well. Craig Bell running P6, Jake Doffing in the 13 for Snake River Racing running P7, his teammate Cody Schultz behind him, Dylan Schultz running P9, and Aaron Mack rounding out the top 10 in that 31 machine. Barry Knapp in the 42, currently running a P11. Brad Yake in the number 1, P12, up 5 positions so far from the starting point. Greg Burchett, P13, Zach Miller, P14, Randall Peasley back in P15, Alan Blue 16th, and final car in the order, Dalton Buckingham in 17th. Back up front, that gap starting to narrow just a little bit. Very easy to overheat tires here at Lime Rock. You notice a lot of quick left-right corners, and it's very easy to light up the rear tires. These drivers not leaving second gear very often at this racetrack. other than the occasional downshift to first to get the car to rotate better. Notice the front end of these cars as they come and crest that hill. Nearly airborne in the front of these cars, so these drivers have to be very careful. Otherwise, they may lose traction at the top of the hill and catch one of those tire barriers flanking either side of the straightaway. Down the chute, it's starting to get a little closer back here for the second, third, and fourth positions. I believe Kyle Nadeau is starting to run down this two-car battle just ahead. Both these drivers probably costing themselves a little bit of lap time with this battle, allowing that number 97 to very slowly creep back into the picture. Great run by Bauman through the first two corners. Gets a little too much curb there. That might cost him down the straight. Let's take a ride on board with Max as he navigates right behind Alex, trying to make that pass happen. Big slip up just a moment ago for Max. Lets that gap widen. He's got a mirror full of the 97 at this point in time. Just 1/10 of a second off the back bumper of the 89. These drivers, you hear Max right there, pretty brave on that throttle. Actually, here the rear tires lose traction just a little bit with that car getting so light at the crest of the hill. You hear the RPM spike for just a moment, but takes some courage to keep your foot down over the crest of that hill. He's able to do so in fine fashion as we see Alex Wiggins dive to pit lane. Well, Max Bauman spins out, nearly spins out, might save it. Good heads-up driving by Kyle Nadeau in the 97, able to just miss that. Turn one, very hard braking corner, very easy to lock up the tires, and we see just that happen to Max Bauman. He's going to drop down to fourth place after a long-winded second-place battle with Alex Wiggins. Wiggins still continues to close that gap. That gap now just 0.7 of a second, down from 1.3 a short time ago. Big slide there as we see Zach Miller get hard into the wall. Coming off the final corner, he's going to have some severe front-end damage to that number 38. Exacerbating what's already been a difficult day for a lot of these drivers so far. Alex Wiggins, no stranger to difficulties well, as we see him overcook turn one just a little bit. He gets two tires off in the grass. That's going to cost him a lot of time to the leader. That gap now 1.8 and widening to the number 15 of Bennett Allen. Kyle Nadeau likes what he sees here. The Canadian chasing the pseudo-Canadian, as we tend to refer to him. Leaving it right up there by the border between the U.S. and Canada. '97 looking for an opportunity, gets a little bit of one there as the 11 has to lift off the throttle as he risks going wide once again through turn one. Down through turn two, it's who can get on the throttle quicker as they head through the right-hander. Through Big Bend they go, heading up toward the hill once more. A lot of speed can be carried going up the hill. You got to be careful at the top, though. Excellent driving by all these drivers so far. Oh, as we see Randall Peasley into that inside catch fence. Also tearing the front end off the number 63 machine. Had been running ahead of Alan Blue for just a while there until that incident. Looks like the steering's still straight on that machine. Looks like he'll be able to continue without too much issue. Aerodynamics not a huge factor here. Of course, coming into play somewhat, but definitely not the end of your day should you tear the front clip off it. As long as the steering and suspension and brake rigging is all intact, you should be fine to continue as long as those engine temps stay within operating range. Absolutely on the edge of control. You see the 15 sliding out of half of the corners on this 1.53 mile circuit. Not a lot of grip to be had in these Arca Menards race cars. Tire heat also a big factor, as we mentioned earlier. Drivers have to be very careful not to slide it too much. Otherwise, that problem just gets worse and worse and worse, especially with the tire model iRacing currently has implemented. Its heat tends to build up, maybe in a slightly unrealistic fashion. These drivers have definitely learned to cope with those characteristics of the simulation. You see sideways once again as he crests the top of the hill and heads down toward the final corner. Lime Rock definitely a racetrack that rewards a aggressive driver. There's not really a whole lot of time to relax at this racetrack. You're always setting yourself for the next corner, the next series of turns. There's not really too many straightaways aside from the front straight to speak of. You notice straight from one turn, immediately turning the opposite direction to hit the next one as big slide once again. Nearly drifting through half the corners now for the number 15. Now, folks, I might just be convinced that he knows the camera's on him, and he might just be showing off. And off track earlier, proving to be pretty costly for the 11. That gap now continues to widen up to 2.6 seconds, nearly a whole second put on the second place car of Wiggins for now, with Nadeau still right in his tire tracks in third. One of the keys to the day is definitely going to be not beating yourself at a racetrack like this. Very narrow, very technical, very low grip, as all these drivers fight to get on the accelerator faster than everyone else. They have to be willing to risk a little bit, but it's going to be managing that risk today that's going to come into play for a lot of these guys, because it is very easy to give up time and potentially ruin your day, as we've seen a couple of guys be a little too aggressive already here in the early going and tear up those race cars early on. Don't want to be your own worst enemy here. Of course, passing people, getting those valuable points is important as always, but you don't want it to be at the cost of your entire race, especially for some of these drivers that are battling for that championship lead and fighting to be in that top 6 before the cutoff race coming up here in another month. That will lead up to our championship. I'll just go ahead and take the heat for this track choice. I see Zach definitely not happy with the track choice in chat. Definitely is going to be a painful one for those who weren't able to get too much practice on it. But I may have used our executive vote we were given in creating the schedule to select this racetrack. Battle intensifying here for second place. Wiggins all over the gas on that number 11. Nadeau in his tire tracks, though, looking a little bit more collected in that 97, not hanging that back end out quite as much on the exit of the corners. Might be saving a little bit of rear tire in that 97. He gave it some time. It looks like he was taking it easy, but now back on the attack. Taking it nice and smooth, doing everything as smoothly and as cleanly as possible, trying not to set a foot in the wrong place and potentially prematurely end his day, or potentially Alex's day. One slip-up could hurt you, but could also hurt the car you're racing against, of course. Definitely hate to see that between these two, because it has been a great battle here for second spot already. You can see just how hard these guys are driving. Let's go ahead and go on board once again. I want to see the hands on Alex Wiggins as he takes some of these corners. See if we can... that 97 all over the rear, now having to contend with lap traffic. That's 42 of Barry Knapp, going to be to his outside, cuts off the apex, has to lift just a little bit. Things not getting any easier for Wiggins in second. Keeping an eye on those hands on the far left side of your screen under the scoring pylon. Back and forth constantly. Never is that wheel still, especially coming over the crest there. Back and forth they go, sawing constantly to try to keep these race cars underneath them tonight. Let's put it out to the fans. Who do you think comes out on top this evening? The 11 of Wiggins or the 97 of Nadeau? Both these drivers look incredibly well matched so far in this evening's race. About a third of the way through tonight's race. 2/3 remain. Through the first third, however, it's been Wiggins on top. Nadeau looking pretty smooth back there. Doesn't look like he's pushing too hard to get the lap time. Just keeping it right where he needs to be. Let's take a look back here. 7th spot. Oh, just in time as Aaron Mack goes around in turn 1. That number 31 is completely sideways as he was just getting into a battle with Cody Schulten, the 30. Locks up the tires and parks it on entry of turn 1. That's going to be hard to recover from, especially with all the heat generated in the tires from those slides. Going to have to do all he can to get back. Oh, and around he goes again, this time headed for the catch fence. Good job by Aaron keeping it out of the wall there. He's going to get overtaken by Dylan Schulten, Brad Yake. Brad Yake still continuing to move up positions, now up to the 8th position, up 9 spots from his last row starting position this evening. Great improvement by this driver throughout the race, showing some pace, getting used to the track as he goes along. I've been telling me he was just moved not too long ago. Has been waiting on an internet connection to get installed at the new residence, and finally was able to get the sim rig installed and up and running late last night. So he's been scraping for every bit of practice possible and kind of learning as he goes tonight, but so far that's paying off. He's having a solid run here this evening at Lime Rock. And for any of you just joining us, or maybe new to the channel, thanks for being with us tonight. Again, apologies, just a little bit behind the 8 ball due to some technical difficulties tonight, but still happy to be able to work through those and bring you the live action here from the SoaringLogos.com Thursday Night Nitro Series. And for anyone not familiar with the league, this league was founded by that man who unfortunately is out of the race tonight. That number 38 is Zach Miller. Owns and operates this league with the help of a few friends as admins. Puts on a good show. Some great drivers here. A lot of skill all the way throughout. You see that last week especially. at Pocono had a really tight battle for the win. A lot of drivers still in contention right at the very end at that final restart, all similar pace. Anyone within the top 7 in last week's race had a chance at the win. If you didn't see that race, I would greatly encourage you to go back and check out at least the end of that race from last week at Pocono. Some great battling here between the great talents we have here in the Thursday Night Nitro Series League. Up front, that gap still continues to extend. Now 5.1 seconds back to Kyle Nadeau in second. He got around Alex Wiggins just a moment ago. Move him up to P2. Wiggins slides back to that slot behind as they're trying to put that number 13 to Jake Doffing a lap down. Very hard. Oh, big slide. What a save by Nadeau. That was incredible. Once you start going back and forth, the tail starts going back and forth like that, it is almost impossible to save one of these race cars. Kyle able to do it, though. My goodness. You know what? We're going to pause this. We're going to go back and take our roguepromos.com replay cam for a spin. I need to see that again. We need to look at some of the hands inside of that cockpit flying back and forth. Let's play it in slow motion one time before we go there. Look, back end steps out right here, trying to get on throttle. That's where that looseness comes from. Then gets a piece of the grass, back and forth, is able to save it. So hard to keep that car from not snapping around there. What an incredible save there. Let's rewind once more, and we'll go on board with him this time as he executes this save, as he's trying to overtake Jake Doffing here. Back on board. Let's go to our roll bar cam, take a look. Actually, we will do you one better. We're gonna fix this a little bit, move that view over just a touch for a better view for you. And let's go on board. Rewind just a little more. Watch these hands at work as he saves this race car. Back on throttle. Big slide there. Look at this. You might say, oh, well, he's on a controller. That doesn't matter. No, he's not, folks. This is these drivers utilizing actual steering wheels. His hands were actually moving that quickly in reality, so excellent driving there from Kyle to keep himself in contention, to hang on to that second place. And thanks again to our sponsor of a replay cam. That is Rogue Promotions. Check them out if you have any promotional needs for events, your company, your business. Once again, that's roguepromos.com. Offering custom apparel, bags, drinkware, displays, signs, all sorts of things for your corporate and business events. Custom towels, custom chairs, all sorts of stuff. They have great products over there and a massive selection of things to choose from to bring your brand to the next level. So if you're interested in that, you have a brand you'd love to promote, I encourage you to head over there and check them out. All right, back to the live action. That gap's starting to widen between Nadeau and Wiggins. 2.1 seconds separate the two as there's a bit of a stack up behind them. Aaron Mack, Brad Yake, Jake Doffing. 3 cars under a blanket as they head through turn 1 side by side right now for Doffing and Mack. These cars currently running 8th through 10th in the standings. Doffing able to hang on for now, holding off the advances of Mack. He's got to keep it tidy, though, risk potentially making a mistake that's going to cost him that spot. Bit of a slide there, got a bit of curb and had to put a lot of wheel of it into it on exit, causing that back end to kick out. It happens again. Oh, and he's going to Go off track, nearly catches the fence. Hang on to it. Great drive in there, Jake Dolphin, to keep it off the fence there. Multiple great saves in just a few laps here. Told you we had talent here in the Thursday Night Nitro Series. Good to see as we see the 31 goes around as well for a second time this evening, as well as the one. You might have to take a look at that, make sure there wasn't any contact. Back to the Rogue replay cam we go. Keep an eye. We see Brad Yates sending it down to the inside. Is there contact? Gets a bit of curb. Ooh, that was close. I'm not sure if there was contact or if that was a bit of a network issue. What we call net code, when two cars get close together, and the a few issues in the ones and zeros that make up the where the iRacing network thinks they are on the racetrack. Let's see if we can find a different view here. Let's go to the chase cam. We can see if there was actually contact, or if that was just incidental from internet issues. Look at a quarter speed here. See if there was. Oh, there was actually a little contact there. Just a little slight bump. You see, Yake got a good piece of that curb on entry, and that kicked his car a little bit wide and just brushed that rear right quarter panel of the 31, and around he went. Not a big loss for either of them. Still running 9th and 10th on track, so still great result for both of them so far. The Schultz, the 03 and the 3.0. Both those cars hitting pit lane right now. Taking their service here at lap 34. We're going to split this race in half and try to keep as fresh tires on these race cars as they can manage. These cars able to go over 50 laps on a fuel run, so tires are the name of the game. These drivers going to use different strategies to manage this race and manage how fresh of tires they have. Full course caution not likely tonight with a pretty low car count. Only 15 cars remaining in the race this evening. We see a big pileup with 3 or more cars. We may throw out the full course yellow. So far that has not happened. 1 or 2 car isolated incidents are just going to result in a local yellow flag. All the drivers receive a yellow flag as they approach the area where the incident happened, so the oncoming drivers know to slow down and give caution to the cars that may be coming back on the racetrack. All of them doing an excellent job of that so far. Talking about our bonus point now. We're talking about fast laps. And we talked about the one with the fastest lap of the night. We saw a 51.94 out of Bennett Allen earlier on in the race, but just recently we've seen a 51.82 out of the driver, the number 97, Kyle Nadeau. Putting down a 51 point. I take it back, folks. He sets that lap, and goodness, we might have a tie for this fast lap. What I'm seeing at the moment is a near tie. It might be a rounding issue. We'll have to look and dig into the numbers, but I'm seeing a 51.82 for both Alex Wiggins and Kyle Nadeau. Both those drivers already making their pit stops, so they're going to be running the fastest laps of the race, of course, on these fresh General Tire on that fresh General Tire rubber. So yeah, as it stands, to the best I can tell, Kyle Nadeau still barely has the fastest lap, rounding down to a 51.82, while Alex Wiggins is rounding up, so it must be on the second half of an 8.2 and rounding up to an 8.3. So as it looks, Nadeau just a couple thousandths of a second quicker than Wiggins for that fast lap. That fast lap worth bonus points, of course. 1 bonus point to the driver with the fastest lap, 1 bonus point for any driver who leads a lap, and the most laps led will receive 3 points. Also of note, a clean race is 0 off tracks, 0 incidents or contact with other cars or the wall will result in a 2-point bonus for any driver able to accomplish that. Doubtful we'll have too many people with that, with as many off tracks as we've seen thus far. It's just very, very easy to dip a tire in the grass, and that's all it takes to take you out of contention for that. And I believe we've seen pretty much everyone suffer that at some point or another in the first half of this race thus far. Like what you see tonight, and definitely encourage you to give the BoomTube here a follow. Would love if you'd hit that subscribe button, click that bell to get notifications when we go live. Right here for the Thursday Night Nitro Series, of course, taking place on Thursday nights. We will not be running next weekend. Next weekend will be our bit of an off week. We will have our all-star race going on between the drivers who are able to make it on Memorial Day weekend. But we will not be live streaming that event. We will be back the following week. For more racing action here in the SoaringLogos.com Thursday Night Nitro Series. Next couple of races, we got Bristol is going to be a next points race. That's going to happen on May 29th. On June 5th, we head to the Irish Hills of Michigan, the Michigan International Speedway, for 90 laps of action in the Mitten State. Battle closing up once again. 97 closing to the back end as the 38 dives off in the grass and out of the way of this battle. Great heads-up driving there by Zach. Letting these guys continue to go at it for the third spot. Haven't mentioned yet, but +1 spot for Max, or several spots for Max Baumann. You saw him get in trouble a little bit earlier on in the race. He has yet to pit, still on those old tires, still putting down great laps. He's right in there in contention with the 2 cars behind him. His best lap being a 51.87 so far tonight. Still running mid-52s, which is right there with the leader. They've been trading lap times for the past several laps. Both those drivers actually outrunning the 2 behind them. 3rd and 4th place, suffering a little bit because of that battle. Kind of having a little battle with each other, but that might be costing them in the big picture of things, as they're both running about 2 to 3 tenths slower than 1st and 2nd as things stand right now. That gap's still pretty large. But that's good news for these guys ahead. They're still able to make distance on them the longer they race for that 3rd spot. If they can keep increasing distance, that means they're going to come out even further ahead once they get those fresh tires on and are able to get back down into those low 52 lap times. Case in point, last time by, 52.2 for your leader, Bennett Allen. 52.94 and 53.7 for Alex Wiggins and Kyle Nadeau last time by. 1st and 2nd place putting the hurting on 3rd and 4th right now, even having older tires on their race cars. Tire wear not that big of a factor tonight. Looking at the tire wear coming off these cars for practice, not a whole lot going on with these ARCA cars. They have a pretty resilient tire. Depending on the racetrack, Lime Rock is really not that hard on tires. What you really have to worry about is that residual heat in the tires. Once they get hot, it is very hard to cool off this general tire rubber and get back into a usable state. Kind of got to take a couple laps easy, be very ginger, and make sure you don't slide that car whatsoever. Otherwise, that's going to flash heat those tires once again, and you'll end up with some issues trying to put down those fast laps. But so far, First and second place, the 89 and the 15. Bennett Allen looking strong out front again. And the lone Ford Mustang in the field representing the blue oval in a field of Chevrolet and Toyota. And doing so to great success so far. Had an absolutely outstanding week. Cut through the field several times to bring it home to a very narrow second place finish at Pocono. I think he is going to be a contender for that top 6 by the end of the season. Despite missing the first several races, he's got the pace to stack points pretty handily, I believe. See some people in chat back there commenting on the 63, cheering on Randall. There we go. He got a front end back on the race car. Some super glue and duct tape, and got that thing looking a little better than it was before. Of course, ripping the soaringlogos.com colors on that turned around turbos machine. Doing pretty good. I had the pleasure of practicing a little bit with Randall last night, turning some laps just to get a better idea of what the drivers would be up against today. Massive improvement from a lot of these guys throughout the night as they learn the track and learn the car. Many of these drivers coming from GT cars, prototypes, and open wheel. And just starting to dip their feet into stock car racing. All of them adapting spectacularly so far. Randall currently running P13. Should end up with a pretty decent result if he can hang on right around there. Coming up through the field, Greg Birch and Alan Blue hanging right together in that 11th and 12th spot. That is for position. They are on the same lap, both 3 laps down from the leader, but racing each other here for that 11th spot. Just ahead of them by a lap is Barry Knapp in the 42. Barry having a little better run this week inside the top 10. Has had a streak of awful luck the last couple of weeks. It's good to see that Budweiser Chevrolet having a good run of things so far here at Lime Rock, and I'm going to get off him before the commentator's curse kicks in and jinxes that. Just ahead of him in 13th, in 9th is the car number 13, Jake Doffing, in the Tide Ride. Behind him, Dylan Schultz. Been a pretty quiet day out of the 03, keeping his head down, doing what he needs to do. Early running P8, 1 lap down, definitely has a shot at a couple more positions. You see that orange metallic car of Aaron Mack just ahead of him, at about half a straightaway distance on him. And after that turn 1 contact a few laps ago, Brad Gake moves up 1 spot, several spots actually. He's up to P6 after the pit cycle. Right behind his teammate, the number 7, Dalton Brewington. Dalton hasn't really had a whole lot of contact with other cars today. Been kind of running in no man's land between that first group and the second group of the 1, the 31, and the 03. Quiet day. He put in a lot of practice the last couple days. Got some new pedals on the rig as he dips a couple tires there. Looking for consistency. That's going to be the name of the game here. Last week, both Daltons, Brewington and Buckingham, were both out early at Pocono Raceway, so both of them looking for redemption today. Finish first, you must first finish. That's exactly what he's trying to do this race, and so far has been running top 5 for most of the afternoon. Still hanging on right there in that 5th spot. Just a couple seconds, about 5 seconds behind that 80... Sorry, not the 89. The 15. Ooh, big lock up there. Ben and Allen finally coming in for service just a couple laps ago on lap number 45. So he's got fresh tires on that race car. Trying to put down some lap times after getting around the lap cars there. Big wiggle as it crests the top of the hill, back and forth. A lot of sawing back and forth, very similar as we saw to Kyle Nadeau earlier on. Alex Wiggins up in P3 now, trying to run down Kyle Nadeau, as we were just talking about, in that number 97. There we go. We got the updated livery for that 97. Kyle joining the Royal Pegasus Motorsports guys and their team for the remainder of the season. Finally got the updated paint to reflect that. Up front and in the pits now is your would-be leader, Max Bauman. Now going to fall back to probably third spot as he downed it away with 4 tires and a little bit of fuel. Looks like he's going to keep it about 10 seconds ahead of Allen. In and out very cleanly. Nice quick pit stop there. Hit his marks just right. That's going to hand over that lead to Kyle Nadeau. Yeah, and guess who's there? Knocking on the door of first place. It's that 11 again. Both of these drivers have not been much farther than a half a straightaway away from each other the whole night. Most of it is just like you've seen right here. Maybe not more than 5 car lengths between the two. They've been hanging out, trying to run each other down the whole evening, and that continues here through lap number 51, creeping up on 15 laps to go tonight. It flies by here at Lime Rock Park. Like we said, under a minute laps here at a road course. That's pretty unprecedented as compared to most other ones. But we are already 2/3 through this race, and in the closing laps, it is all down to this. Both these drivers came in at the same lap, lap 31. As we see Wiggins starting to get that car under a little more control, not seeing the same sliding we were earlier. He's keeping it calm, cool, and collected in the chase position as he tries running down Nadeau through the final corner. Zach Miller, a bit of an obstacle on the outside lane. Going to cost Nadeau the exit speed. That's going to give Wiggins an opening. He's got the run down the straight and he's to the inside in turn 1. Hard on those brakes. No lockups from either driver. Well handled by both. 2 wide still as they exit turn 1. Move the 11 to the lead. He made the move stick. Alex Wiggins out front at Lime Rock Park. A little bit of a slide there out of the 97 to cost him time getting on the throttle. Major portion of the track there through the S's. Trying to get on that throttle despite all the bumps and undulations in the racetrack, making it very hard on these drivers, and that's where the smallest little advantage starts to add up. Down the front straight towards the turn 1 and 2 complex of Big Bend. Through turn 1, that second curb makes turn 2. Down toward turn 3, which is the left-hander. The exit of turn 3 into turn 4, the right-hander just ahead, known as the S's. And down what they call No Name Straight, but I suppose that does give it a name. down to turn 5, which is his uphill section onto the back straight. Down to turn 6, known as West Bend. Then down the hill to the corner known as, well, the downhill. And that's a turn-by-turn lap around Lime Rock as Nadeau shows the nose to the inside, trying to force a mistake out of Wiggins in the 11. Not quite going to get it this time. Wiggins too experienced to fall for a move like that and get fall susceptible to those psychological games. Another big slide coming out of the S's for Nadeau. That's going to cost him a big gap as they cruise down toward the uphill and onto the back straight. Well, I don't know what your guesses were. We asked the audience who's going to come out on top tonight, the 11 or the 97. Both these drivers have been slugging it out all afternoon thus far. So far, Wiggins, but they've been trading back and forth. It was Nadeau just a few laps ago, but right now, Wiggins leads the way. We'll see if he can keep those tires managed and cool. Just behind them, 2 laps down, you see another battle starting to heat up for that 8th spot. You saw Brad Yates crest on the hill, but look right behind him. Whoa. Well, I'm going to chalk that up to commentator's curse once again as the 31 goes around. Just going to mention that he was gaining a lot of time on the 1 car. But out of the downhill, he suffers another spin out in that number 31. Unfortunate. We could have used another battle on the racetrack. Everybody looking pretty spread out at the moment, except for this lead battle. Max Baumann 8 seconds behind second place right now, so he's 8 seconds behind this group. Unlikely to catch them before the end of the race. Big send. Great momentum there through the downhill for Nadeau. He's going to get a good run down the straight, but he's just not close enough to make that move yet. Showing the nose to the inside again. Hard on the brakes, taking that wide arc on the entry, trying to cut down in the exit of turn 2 just a little bit more. See him close about a half car length, coming out of 2 into 3, maintaining that gap nicely. Pretty good times there through the first sector for Nadeau, trying to run down the 11. Wiggins keeping it tidy here. Let's see if the 97 gets sideways again. Just a little bit better than the last couple laps, but Wiggins able to sneak another car length gap through that sector once again. And that 11 car very strong through the middle portion of the racetrack. 97 seems to have the strength through the final corner and through the first through third corners. A little bit of a wiggle that time. Not going to get that same run he got the last few laps down the front straight. Again, taking that slightly modified line. You see a wider entry for the 97 versus the 11. Gains just that little bit of time through there, but so far it just hasn't been enough to close up on that 11 to make a move happen. Straighter drive off, still has to lift again. Gets that back end kicked out just a little too much. Probably a little too much heat. Starting to affect those rear tires and just not able to get the power down. Back a little farther. We got a pass on the racetrack. Dalton Brewington in the 7 for Team Highlands Racing, passing the number 15, who looks pretty sideways at the moment. for that 4th spot. I believe the first time we've seen him above 5th all day. He's been pretty much locked into that 5th position up here until we get inside 10 laps to go. Notice really smooth, that 15 just really struggling to put the power down. He came and pitted a lot earlier than these other drivers, though, pitting on... Actually, no, that's the other way around. Dalton Brewington actually pit on lap 33. Allen pit on lap 45. So fresher tires on the 15, but may have just pushed too hard and used them up already. We'll see if he's able to claw his way back throughout the remainder of this race as we cross into just 8 laps to go tonight. Both these drivers about 3/4 of a lap behind that lead battle. Speaking of which, let's go back up, check in on that one more time. 11 starting to keep building on that gap. Went from about 2.5 car lengths. Now we're up to about 5. Through turn 3. Let's see if you can get a better drive off down the straight this time. Onto the back straight they go. Little bit of a slide. Not terrible. Still just a little bit of wiggle for the 97, though. Characteristic soft front suspension on these cars. You see the decompression on the suspension as they crest the hill, how high that front end gets off the racetrack. Makes these cars very sketchy to drive at times. Great first couple turns there for the 97. Actually has to check up a little bit for Wiggins. Now closed within half a car length. Here's that tricky section that he's had struggles with the last few laps. Can he maintain the gap here? Loses a little bit, but not very much. Still within striking distance. 2 car lengths separate first and second place. The downhill they go. Let's see what kind of run that 97's able to generate here. Great exit out of both race cars. I think that gap's going to stay about the same. Looks like 3 car lengths back to the 97. Randall Peasley getting out of the way of that lead battle. Wants no part of it. Going to let them go at it once again. Under braking into turn 1. Nadeau, massive gains. Picks up 2 car lengths on the leader. Wiggins fighting for all he's worth to keep that 97 in the rear view. Through this midsection of the track, he's been Nadeau's been struggling with so much. Taking a look backwards from the 11. Look at the nose of that 97. Big gains there through the uphill section, down to the downhill to the inside of Greg Burchett in 33. That's going to cost Nadeau a little bit of time. That gap now 5 car lengths out back. Taking a look back in, 4th place is what we're looking for. Bennett Allen able to claw that spot back from Brewington. Go ahead and check out that pass real quick. Heading toward the downhill, able to send it inside. Brewington just gets pinned to the outside, not really able to do anything about it. He gets on the gas at that point. He's going to send himself wide into the grass. Good driving there by both competitors. Dalton keeping it nice and clean and avoiding going off into the grass and potentially taking out the both of them in the 15 for setting up that pass very, very nicely. Not generally a turn you think of for a passing zone, but he was able to make it work here in the late going. Back here on the bottom side of the top 10, 8th and 9th, Aaron Mack finally able to get around that number 1 car. Brad Yakin to drop back to 9th position. Still a great day for that number 1 machine. 8 spots up from the starting position. 7 spots up for Aaron Mack in the 31 so far. Big move of the day so far. Most spots gained on track. As it stands now is 11 spots from his qualifying position for Dalton Brewington. And just ahead of him, that number 15, Bennett Allen, up 10. So, a battle for more than one statistic here on track for these two drivers. That lead gap still starting to extend back out a little bit, up to 0.4 of a second now, back to Nadeau. Wiggins out front by a narrow margin, but it only takes one mistake to bring that 97 all the way back up into the rear view mirror and potentially around for that lead position. 2 laps remain here at Lime Rock Park. And it is still an intense battle for the lead here between the 11 and the 97. Alex Wiggins and Kyle Nadeau. Not the first time we've seen these two go at it. We saw them go at it race after race last season. Now we see them both back on track to have at it again, right on the rear bumper as they go uphill for the 97. He's down within half a car length again. Big slide there for the 11. That's going to give the 97 advantage downhill. We'll see if he can keep that momentum. Slight gain, but you saw the 97 get a little bit sideways as he got on the power. Wiggins able to stretch that. 42 might be a factor here. Allowed Nadeau to get right up to the bumper and nearly collects the 11. Moment of panic. 97 sends it to the inside. 2 tires on the grass. Doors the 11 to the outside. Wiggins can't hang on to it. This is the last lap of the race. Kyle Nadeau has made it stick for better or worse. Slight contact between the two drivers. I don't know if you call that dirty or just doing what you have to do. I'll leave that up to the admins, but I'm enjoying every minute of it as these two drivers absolutely slug it out for the win. But it's going to be Kyle Nadeau pulling off back-to-back wins at Pocono and Lime Rock Park for the sweep of the East Coast. Alex Wiggins going to bring it home in P2 after that last lap pass to the inside. Probably not going to be thrilled about how that pass went down. Of course, we'll hear from the drivers themselves in our interviews just after the race. So if you're tuned in with us, be sure to hang around, see what these drivers have to say about it. Running down the order, coming home P3, Max Bauman in the 89, Bennett Allen in the 4 comes home 4th, Dalton Brewington settles for 5th, Dylan Schultz in the 03 passes his teammates and comes up P6 for the afternoon. Jake Doffing P7, Aaron Mack passes Brad Yake and hangs on for P8, Brad Yake P9, Barry Knapp rounds out your top 10 for the evening. Alan Blue, P11. Greg Birch at P12. P13, Randall Peasley in the 63. Able to hang on to that race car and bring it home for a respectable finish. Dalton Buckingham, P14. Zach Miller, P15. Cody Schultz, Craig Bell, 16th and 17th. Once again, your winner for the evening, Kyle Nadeau, snags that win. Doesn't lead many laps, but he led the one that counted, and that was the final lap here at Lime Rock Park. Has had quite the entrance to the Thursday Night Nitro Series presented by SoaringLogos.com. Burst onto the scene yet again after a strong season last season. Missed the first couple races of this season. Came in race number 5. Dominates at Pocono. I shouldn't say dominates. It's that man right there. Bennett Allen in the 15, who dominated most of that race last weekend. But once again, leading the lap that counts was Kyle Nadeau last week and did the same thing again this week. Made it happen the last lap. So we'll go on board with one of our resident Canadians, Kyle Nadeau, in just a moment as the drivers get set up in the green room, ready for the interviews here this afternoon. All right. Go ahead and bring these guys into the broadcast booth, get ourselves set up for some interviews. I am really interested in hearing what these two drivers thought. You see, frozen there on the screen was the move for the lead on the last lap. Keeping that fresh in our minds as we head into interviews in just a moment. But first, we're going to bring in our third place finisher. That's going to be Max Bauman in the number 89. We're going to go ahead and jump to him real quickly. All right, now in the broadcast booth with us, driver of the number 89 for Team Highlands Racing, your third place finisher this evening, Max Bauman. How you doing tonight, Max?
All right. I think we could say all right.
I would say so. You kept yourself right there in contention for most of the afternoon. Had a couple slip-ups here and there, but definitely saw that out of absolutely everyone tonight. Everyone had their troubles. It was whoever could minimize the damage and recover from it the best ended up salvaging good finishes this evening, and I'd say P3 is a pretty hot result after the last couple weeks, keeping your upward climb through the ranking going.
Yeah, I knew this would probably be one of my best shots to win a race just because I'm a road course guy and, yeah, have a lot of history of sports cars, and decent amount of it applied today. It was just like one less error or one less bit of luck, like better start of the race. I feel like I could have had a little something for the two in front, but oh well. The points are good and might even maintain a points lead, which would be nice to hang on to it for another week or two, even though resets during the playoffs. But yeah, all in all is well.
Definitely solidly inside. You're solidly inside that top six heading into the second half of the regular season. So looking great so far as being able to contend for that championship. So congrats on that so far. Keep going. And these good finishes, I'm sure you got to break through to a win eventually. It's been too many solid finishes now you have broken through to a win, but I'm sure another one will come here in the second half of the season. It's a lot of short tracks coming up, and I think it's going to be a battle of attrition for a lot of guys just trying to survive. So that's going to be key, and I think a lot of people are going to have a shot here in the second half of the season.
Yeah, I agree. The top six is going to be pretty stout. So if you could get a second win or some sort of momentum, it's always preferred.
That, and you got a leg up on a couple of these guys because they missed quite a few races of the season, so that's definitely something to consider as well. You got the advantage of getting the jump start on a lot of these guys for points, so I think holding out at the top of the leaderboard is definitely going to be a possibility for you. So we'll see how the points stack up after this race. I am inclined to think that you'll still retain the top spot. Let's see if I can actually grab those points really quickly.
I had the same thought. Yeah. Let's see, average start. I don't know if it's taken this into account yet, but might have about 12 points. We'll see.
Let's see. Last week was...
Kyle's going to be catching up pretty quick. So,
Oh, no doubt.
yeah,
I think
at least 12 points to hang on to.
Both Kyle and 97 and 15 both going to be shooting up that points chart pretty quick. And if Alex is going to be in more races in the second half of the season, I should see him clawing his way back up there as well. Down, I think, in 5th currently in points. He's got about 50 points to make up, as I see right now. But, yeah, if he keeps up these finishes, well, both of them keep up these finishes, I think they're going to be right there in contention. So it'll be interesting second half to the season, no matter how you look at it. But, yeah, you're looking good so far. Congrats on another strong finish for the team and getting helping the team climb up through the team points ranking as well. So that's really good to see. And you had your teammate there, Dalton, bringing it home in a top 5. So that's going to be a great day overall for THR.
Yeah, I was expecting Dalton to do pretty well today. He was actually a couple tenths up on me on Grad 61 when I was going for the telemetry yesterday. So happy he held on. I've lost track with all the lap cars, but I'm happy he held on.
Absolutely. That got a little dicey at the end, working around lap traffic for everybody involved, and I think that's part of what kind of made that last lap dive for the lead. Not sure if you saw it, but once you go back and look at the replay, you'll see a bit of a dive bomb in the last lap of the race for the lead. Yeah, I think lap traffic definitely played a factor in that. So, yeah. Anyways, great day. P3, solid finish. Keep yourself atop the points heap for now. Going into the second half of the season, so you got starting off with the second half with a lot of momentum. Hopefully you see that hopefully we see you keep that up through this second half of the regular season. So good luck next week. You plan on running the All-Star race at Eldora?
I think it will be fun. I need to spend a little more time at Eldora, but I'm intending to show up.
All right, good to hear. So hopefully these guys will be able to see you out on track. Unfortunately, not able to stream it next week, but we'll see. We'll try. Make no promises on it. Not looking likely, but if some things work around a little bit, we might be able to stream it. So hopefully we see you there. Just for a little bit of fun for everyone. Something different. Getting these cars out on the dirt, seeing how they do. It's going to be a brand new experience for everybody, not knowing how these are going to do there. But I'm sure it'll be fun either way. So, yeah, hopefully see you next week, Max.
Yep. Thank you so much, Adam. And, yeah, thank yous to 614 Design, Track Racer, BoomTube, and Soaring Logos. And, of course, the team THR. It's nice to have a seat at the team. Thank you. Enjoy your evening.
All right, you too. All right, that's number 89, Max Bowden, P3 on the evening. Let's go ahead and see what Alex Wiggins has to say about that finish. Might be slightly controversial. We'll have to see. But go ahead and bring
me the whole first run.
Oh, sorry about that. Interrupted. We've got Alex Wiggins, driver of the number 11. Here in the booth with us. A bit of a controversial end of the race. Wanted to get your thoughts on how that race finished out.
It finished. Kyle didn't do anything wrong. We got tangled with a lap car in 1, and then I think he ended up hitting me in 1, and then down into 2, 3, whichever corner it is. He was alongside me, and I didn't even realize. And then I think he used me up a little bit, but I mean, you can't really ask for much better. We ran nose to tail the whole last part of the race. I honestly was a little upset in the moment, and I looked back at it, and he didn't do anything wrong, but the whole race was pretty fun.
Yeah, you guys were definitely the show, going back and forth, trading spots the whole day. We thought maybe the 15 had it in the bag today, but he struggled a little bit after that pit cycle. Saw him drop back to 4th, and the show was on you guys for pretty much the entire second half of the race. And man, did you guys put on a show! You had a couple great saves. Kyle had a great save we went and looked at. So great driving out of the both of you. Glad to have you back, by the way, after a couple weeks. What's second half of your season looking like? It'll be you'll be showing up for a few more.
I hope so. I've just been busy the last couple of Thursdays, but I'm hoping to be back. It's good to have Kyle back too. He's always fun to run with.
Absolutely, we're getting all the talents stacked talent up at the top of the leaderboard again. It's turning into a interesting second half to the season. The way things are developing now, having you coming back, Kyle coming back, having Bennett thrown in the mix. He's been an absolute rocket ship too. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the second half of the season. Yeah. Overall, what do you think your key to your race was to keep it up there? We saw a lot of different like tire strategies. We had some guys pitting earlier, like on lap 30, maybe trying to divide that, their tire wear in half. How much was tire wear an issue versus maybe just tire heat?
I feel like, yeah, you said it, heat. That was really the main thing. I ran my fastest lap. I think it was 20 laps into that first run, so I was conflicted whether to take tires or not. I pitted right when Kyle did, around that lap 30 mark. I think we both took 4 and just kind of cycled around each other till the end of the race. But just completing all the laps, minimizing mistakes. Sounds weird to say. It's only 68 laps, but it was just an endurance race mentality in a way.
Well, on the note of fast laps, I regret to inform you, actually both you and Kyle, that toward the end of the race, the fastest lap was stolen from you by 3/100ths by Max behind you. So both of you guys were actually trading best laps. You were within like a couple thousandths of each other, back and forth a couple times. Kyle ended up with a 51.82, and you were barely a 51.83. So there was like 3 thousandths in between you. So
okay.
And it was back and forth a couple times. So to say you guys were evenly matched today was a bit of an understatement. You were like the same driver out there. So yeah, that was a great battle, and I'm glad to hear you enjoyed it just as much as we did.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Kyle's just. It's hard to find somebody better than him to race around. He'll be aggressive when he needs to be, but just respectful. I mean, he outbroke himself once, and I helped him almost gather it up. He kind of used me to save it. I think that was a little past halfway after we both pitted, but you can't ask much more from a guy like him to just race clean.
Yeah, great to see that much respect between competitors, and congrats on a strong comeback here for your first race back in a while. Picking up right where you left off and bringing home a solid, P2 after leading quite a few laps tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back near the front. I, of course, would have liked to win, but of course, got a little bit lucky with Max and Bennett having some issues. I think Bennett got a speeding penalty on his pit stop, which is what put him behind. But yeah, it was just between the tire heat, Kyle being Kyle, and making little mistakes. It was just a lot of fun.
Well, fun for you, fun for us. Thanks again for coming and racing with us. Always a pleasure to have talented drivers like yourself with us, and thanks for putting on a heck of a show for us.
Yeah, we try. I know Kyle. We talked a little bit. We were just doing our best not to wreck each other because it was not. The track was really hot and just hard to handle. I'm glad we put on a good show.
All right, that's been your second place finisher, Alex Wiggins, driver of the number 11 Chevrolet. Thanks so much for your time, Kyle. Alex.
Thank you.
All right, now I'm bringing in the other half of that conversation. Kyle Nadeau, driver of the number 97, your winner for tonight's race, and of course your defending season champion from last season. Kyle Nadeau, how you doing after a back-to-back wins, sir?
I'm I'm excited about that one. That was a lot of fun. I love racing road courses and racing with Alex. He's one of the cleanest drivers in the league. I I sent it in on him on that one time, and immediately when I got up on the curb, I keyed up on the mic and said, "I'm sorry, Alex. It just walked up." And good thing he was there to kind of keep me from wrecking ourselves and continue on with another fantastic battle.
Yeah, absolutely. Start to finish, you guys were nose to tail pretty much the whole race, and he was complimenting you quite a bit on just being clean and racing like you always do. And it's awesome to see that much talent out on the racetrack between the two of you, two guys who love road course racing and show out every time we come to a road course. It's just really satisfying for us to watch as viewers, and you guys pretty much were the show tonight. Every time we get another battle shaping up, one driver would, dip a tire off track and it would kind of dissolve, but you guys were pretty much on it and kept kept him pretty clean and on the racetrack the whole night, so it was a great show start to finish. We got a little bit of late start due to some technical difficulties, but definitely had no shortage of racing action once we got there. So, yeah, congrats on that win. Mentioned tire heat being a big factor. We saw you maybe manage it a little better the first run. I feel like we saw a little bit more aggression out of you the second run on those tires, and for a little bit it started resulting in a bit of a gap.
Yeah, that first run, I started on second on the first start and just dropped back to fourth immediately. And I'm like, well, the only way I'm gonna pass is just by mistake. So I just kind of would settle into the pace of the car in front of me, kind of give a little bit more pressure each lap till they made a mistake, and then just sneak on by. And that's how I got up to second. I was running Bennett down, but I don't think I don't think I had anything for him. He was just whole lights out quick. It was just insane.
Yeah, he definitely had some massive pace. Saw some struggle after his penalty. Finally clawed his way back up to P4. Dalton got around him for a little bit, but he got his way back up to P4 at the very end, despite his tires looking like they were melting off the car. But yeah, good finish for him. But yeah, Maximize, you did what you had to do, kept yourself in position, kept the thing on the racetrack, and no speeding penalties or anything. So clean execution all the way around, start to finish. And that's what wins races. We see that time and time again from a lot of guys. You know, they beat themselves, and we said that was going to be a key to the race today, was just not beating yourself. And you definitely didn't do that today and came home P1 for a second week in a row.
No, it's all about minimizing your mistakes.
Absolutely, and there was plenty of them to be had tonight. But as we saw, you might want to go back and look at the broadcast. We highlighted that one save. I don't remember if you coming off the right-hander onto the back straight.
Up the hill.
Yeah, you had
Yeah,
a
that's
seesawing back and forth. You had your hands going
that
a
woke me
million
up.
miles an hour.
Just kiss that wall, and it was there wasn't a lot of damage. It was that was like, okay, just chill out a little bit.
Yep, that could have been the race, but you recovered. We were glad to see it. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had such a good finish. But yeah, I'll give you the floor for a minute. Anyone you want to shout out, of course, and we'll wrap it up for the evening.
Oh yeah, of course. I want to thank you, Adam, for broadcasting the race. Glad to be a part of another exciting finish 2 weeks in a row. I want to give thanks to my girlfriend for allowing me to do this after I just got back from 3 days away. I want to thank 614 Designs, Track Racer, Lavox Creative, BoomTube, of course, for broadcasting it. Soaring Eagle or Soaring Logos, and Rogue Promotions for sponsoring the league and allowing us to pay for the rooms to come out for this. And I want to give a shout out to everybody watching on the BoomTube universe, and hi to my parents. I love you guys. Thank you for watching and watching me do this again. I know it can kind of be a little bit long, but yeah, not bad for a birthday race.
All right, well, happy birthday as well. Good gift to yourself today.
Hey, that's the best thing. It's the best one.
All right, that is Kyle Nadeau, your winner for the second week in a row here in the SoaringLogos.com Thursday Night Nitro Series. Kyle, thanks for taking the time, and you have yourself a good evening, sir.
Thanks, you as well.
All right, that's going to do it for our driver interviews tonight. A great race by your top three all evening. Overcame many adversities throughout the race. You saw mistakes from top to bottom throughout the field, but these guys were able to clean it up and keep it tidy and do what they needed to do to bring home a solid finish. And if you want your brand to be as consistent as these drivers, feel free to check out our sponsors. Of course, SoaringLogos.com, our title sponsor for the season, and as well as Rogue Promotions. That's RoguePromos.com. I encourage you to check both of those out for any of your promotional marketing needs, any promotional products you may need, custom things made for trade shows and all sorts of things, or even if you want to just order some for yourself, go ahead and check them out. We might have a little something in store for you. A bit of another race feature coming up in the next couple weeks as we get it developed. We might actually be pitting some sponsors against each other out on the racetrack with a couple race cars. So if you want to see what that's all about, be sure to tune in next time here for the Thursday Night Nitro Series on BoomTube. As always, we're here Thursday nights. Most of the time, we're supposed to be live at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, barring any technical issues as we saw tonight. So we're looking forward to seeing you back here next time. Not likely going to be a race broadcast next week, but we'll be back here. Let's see, looking at our season schedule. We'll be back here, we said May 29th for Bristol. That's going to be another action-packed race, bumper-to-bumper, beating and banging action in Thunder Valley. That's going to be 250 laps, a night race, so that's going to be a bit of a change-up. And these cars race pretty darn well there, so that'll be an exciting race to come watch. Next week is going to be their all-star race at Eldora Speedway. There may be a stream for that, and probably not a full production, as always, but for anyone wanting to keep up on that action, that is not a points race. This is just kind of a fun race we put on for our drivers. Anyone who happens to be available during Memorial Day week to come run, we have them come do that. But anyways, I tend to ramble on. As always, I've been Adam LaVox here for the BoomTube. I appreciate each and every one of you out there watching. Friends, family, the drivers, great to have you in here too. I see Raph, Zach, Randall, Kenny, Dalton. Thanks all of you guys for coming and tuning in even after you ended up out of the race. Good to see you guys in here. And as always, I wish the best for you guys, and hopefully we will see you out on track soon. Oh, real quick, gonna mention the, let's see if I can find it. If you'd like to check out more details on the league, points, updates, and such, Zach put together a Facebook page for the league. So if you're on Facebook, go ahead and search for Thursday Night Nitro or TNN iRacing League in your search bar on Facebook. And that should bring it up, and that will have points, updates, schedule, photos from each race as they are available. So, and of course, you're able to message the page. If you'd like to get involved in the league, go ahead and message them on Facebook Messenger, and they can definitely get you an invite to the league. The more the merrier, and we would love to have even more great talent in this league. It's been spectacular broadcasting for these guys. Great racers. I just see you respect each other an immense amount, even when things don't always go the way that they might like. Always understanding of each other, and you know, ready to go again next time and leave it all out there on the racetrack. But until next time, once again, I've been Adam LaVox here for the BoomTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. Give the video a like, and of course subscribe if you'd like to be notified when we're live, and click that bell to be notified the next time we go live here for the SoaringLogos.com Thursday Night Nitro Series. And until next time, have yourself a great week. Happy Memorial Day to everybody coming up next week. I hope you all have a safe week until then. But yeah, that's going to do it for us, so have a good night.